We are back. It's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from the top of my house. I thought I was just going to rap right there, Val. I don't know what happened. Coming at you from the top of my house, just below the attic. Just below the attic. No. Just below the roof, in the attic. Your boy, the nonprofit sector connector. This show is called the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. We have built and are continuing to build and nurture a community of animal lovers, of animal advocates. We do three things on this show. We learn, we educate, and we advocate. We also do one other thing on this show, which some people don't know about, but we don't shop, we adopt. And this is my friend. How you doing, Val?
I just died. I'm dead.
I just died in your arms tonight, Valerie.
Who died? Who
Valerie,
is it?
this is
that
Cheetoh.
a real dog, or is that like one of those robotic stuffed animals?
No, Michael. Cheetoh is our dog. He just joined our family last night at 6 o'clock.
I cannot believe it.
Cheetoh.
You today. I cannot believe this. I'm dying. You know, Michael, everyone, I don't know who knows and doesn't know. I have been kind of encouraging, if you will. He's going to say coercing. I'm going to say encouraging.
Hi, Cheetoh.
Bring a dog into your beautiful family.
I've been holding out on you, Val, for a week. We met him. I'm going to give him back to you. All right, handsome. Listen, say bye to the crowd. We'll have you back on the show soon. Say bye to Michael and Valerie.
Adorable.
Maybe come back.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh my God, I just died. I'm crying.
There was no way. This is the Professionals and Animal Lover Show. There was no way that I was not going to do that live on the show. He came to the house last night at 6 o'clock. We met him at the Family Pet Expo last week. She's crying. Oh my God, she's crying.
I'm so happy for Thomas. I'm happy for all of you children, and obviously your beautiful wife. And I'm happy for you. And I'm of course happy for the dog, but I'm so happy for Thomas, who his son is obsessed with dogs and has wanted a dog for so long.
He is, and he's
about time. I don't even know you, and I'm saying about time.
You know what, Michael? Well, look, I believe we have something in common, you and I, right out of the gate. 4 children, right?
That's right.
So, look, when you have 4 children, there's not always room for, an extra. She left the show. Michael Schneider and I are on the show alone. I crushed my partner. She's gone. So Michael, 4 kids. Do you have dogs of your own?
I do. I have Sydney, my rescue pup. I did not rescue her because I was busy having kids. We got her from North Shore Animal League.
Got it.
She's 85 pounds, black shepherd mix dog. She probably would try to eat your dog, Tommy.
No, listen, my dog, he will only ever be 15 to 20 pounds. He is half Cavapoo, half mini Cavapoo, Val, half mini Brittany Spaniel. Not Britney Spears, everybody, not Britney Spears. I'm going to shave his head, but Brittany Spaniel. Val, so I'll never have this 85 pound. Will be like this tiny little thing forever. So gang, if you're just checking in for the last, let's see, we started this show September, I think 1st of 2021. And it's only been every day since that my friend Valerie has been telling me I should be getting a dog only every single day.
Not every day.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm only serious. But it has been, and she's right. I mean, we're dying over here with this dog. He's just so precious. But last week or a couple of weeks ago, we had the folks from Family Pet. Valerie helped me, Family Pet Expo on the show, and then last week on Sunday, I went out to we walked the expo, and there was this rescue there, positive pet rescue or puppy rescue, all puppies, Val. So I showed you a picture of this dog. I don't know if you remember that, but
I do remember that.
We had no intention of getting the dog. We were just walking the show, checking it out. We saw our boys, our boy Rob and Anya, his wife from the canine shop. So they were there at the expo. So long story short, we put in an application on Monday morning because last Monday morning, everybody fell really hard for this guy, Cheetoh. And then to find out that there were several, I don't know what rules I'm allowed to break, but I'm going to break them, like 84 different applicants for that particular.
Oh.
And he now lives with us. So again, one quick shout out, and then we'll get into what we're here to discuss with Michael Schneider. Pilots to the Rescue, 501c3 nonprofit. We'll talk about it in a second. But I went out and saw Anya down in Massapequa at the canine shop to get sorted out on the raw food, get this guy going right out of the gate. We have to split his food 50-50 because he's been eating like a little kibble type food. So otherwise, otherwise we'll be cleaning up a mess. So we're gonna like 50-50 and then wean him into, but he's got goat milk, Valerie. Like we are all.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I learned anything.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wish I did differently with our dog Jovi. We didn't really find out about raw food and all of that until not too long ago, like a year and a half ago. I just want to say this though, like I'm trying not to cry but like I am so blown away right now. And I just want to say this. I really believe that they choose you. I really believe that. Like our animals they're discerning and they chose very wisely. But I mean, Michael, like so there was a moment they were close to maybe adopting a dog. And then it just wasn't the right time at that time. But then we had on a rabbit rescue and they were talking about how they needed fosters. So I was like, you could foster a rabbit. Like I've been trying so hard to get an animal into this loving household.
We're you know what, timing's everything, right, Val? Isn't that the way?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait to meet him.
We will do that. We'll do FaceTime later on. I'll get you hang out with him, the whole thing. But I asked people, I said, like, when I was talking to Rob and Anya yesterday, texting and stuff, like Saturday into Sunday, I was like, listen, do me a favor. I know you're in touch with Valerie. I want to keep this a secret because I just want to make her cry on the show. I didn't say that. Yeah.
Score.
I didn't say that. I'm getting emotional. All right, let's get into the conversation. Because I only usually cry on philanthropy and focus. I don't usually cry on pals.
Right.
So
right.
Val, you have any updates? Any legislative updates? Anything you want to tell us about before we introduce Michael?
You're killing me, Smalls. Okay. Deep breath. So yes, legislatively, right now, New York State Assembly and Senate are in session, and we're asking everyone to call their representatives to please support the bill A00085, which is a no-brainer. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on or no side of the aisle, or if you're atheist, it doesn't matter. This is a no-brainer bill that gives a tax credit for spay-neuter. Okay, A00085. Please call your legislators, your New York State Assembly person, and your New York State Senator, and ask them to support that bill. Thank you. Oh God, I'm dying.
They should just pay for it all together. Forget the tax credit. Just pay for it.
I agree, 100,000%. You know,
yeah, but that's something. It's something.
It's better than nothing, I guess, right?
It is. It is better than nothing. It is. So because Val is very emotional right now. I believe she's verklempt. Let me give you a topic. Remember that coffee talk with Linda Richmond? Let me give you a topic.
Yeah.
Puppies, aren't they great? All right, let's get into this conversation. Michael Schneider, we never met before. You got great gear. I love that hat you're wearing. For those of you in audio land, he's got a cool Pilots to the Rescue. I want to read this real quick, Mr. Schneider, before we get into Pilots to the Rescue. PTTR is a nonprofit, volunteer-driven, 501c3 public benefit aviation organization. Their mission is to transport domestic and endangered animal, as well as people at risk. The organization supports a network of trained volunteer pilots so that they can focus on their missions and do greater good. We'll read more stuff later on, but it's always what I want is always I want to hear the story. But what comes to mind before we jump in, Michael, is I have a friend of mine, Eileen Minogue, out here on Long Island, that founded an organization that is also called PALS, Patient Airlift Services. So I wonder if you know of Eileen or if you know of that organization, if there's any similarities. But first of all, I see you're nodding your head. Welcome to the show. I think we're going to be fast friends because you told me I'm going to get a hoodie out of the deal. And anytime somebody wants to be friends with me and they give me a hoodie, get one for Val. We'll get a stickers or a keychain. We'll find something for you, Val. I'll get you a hoodie, kid. I'll get you a hoodie because
you can have all the merch now. It's fine.
Now that I got the dog. Now that I got the dog. Michael Schneider, hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, Tommy and Valerie. Congratulations, Tommy, on getting the dog.
Yeah.
We're pretty psyched. Thank you for the congrats, man. Appreciate it.
I'm sorry I started off such a hot mess express, and that was completely choreographed, I'm sure, by Tommy Namisa. But Michael, you know what? I was on your website and I was on your Facebook, and the way I actually found you was on Facebook when you were doing a live stream and of a rescue where you were picking up all these dogs at the airport. I want you to tell the audience, because I love it. How did this get started? How was this great organization born?
Yeah, absolutely. It started Pilots Rescue back in 2015 to combine my love of aviation and rescuing animals. So when I got my pilot certificate, I did everything new pilots do, you know, fly your friends on the skyline, take them somewhere cool for a lunch,
Yeah.
fly over everybody in traffic going out to the Hamptons, you know, all that stuff. After a while, you're looking for a reason to do something else with your license. And I always grew up with rescue animals, and I heard about people using their planes to transport rescue animals. And I wanted to get into a larger aircraft. That was my real motivation on starting the charity, just because simply these larger aircraft are not available to rent. It really comes down to insurance and maintenance and all that. And there's really no reason to fly anything larger than what is available, because people are usually just taking 1 or 2 passengers with them. So long story short, I started the charity in 2015, and we purchased our first 6-seater aircraft, and we were off to the races. But it's really because I love flying and I love rescue animals, and to be able to combine the two and give back is like the ultimate.
That is awesome.
And so you must have this extensive nationwide, or at least I'm imagining East Coast to Midwest wide network. Like, how did you go about finding your first rescue mission? Like, did you just reach out to rescues and shelters, or how did that work?
Yes, there's no shortage of rescues that you can do. And a lot of people are doing this work via ground transport every day. So what people don't immediately think of with our organization is how we alleviate these amazing road warriors that are doing this stuff. I mean, when we do rescues, for example, dogs or cats from Texas, we don't fly all the way to Texas. It's too far. These people are driving through the night, often 24 hours, to meet us in Tennessee. And then we fly them back to the Northeast, and we save them in a day's worth of driving, which is huge. It's huge relief to them, because they're often volunteers and they have families or other jobs. And it's a big stress release for the animals not to endure yet another 24 hours. That's why they drive through the night, because they could sleep.
Right. Well, right. So not only that, but what I was going to say is, like, one of the challenges when we travel, you know, we take our dog with us, and we can certainly find a pet-friendly hotel to accept us and one dog. If you're trying to transport 15 or 20 animals, that's a tough hotel check-in. I don't even know if that option really exists, you know.
No.
Plus, you have to walk them and feed them. And
That's right.
Michael, you can probably relate to this. I'll tell you, since we have the same amount of children that we're raising. So I had this thing, like when I had one child, everybody wanted to babysit, you know, and then when you have that second, like 15, 16 months later, you know, they still want to babysit, but they pick up on the second ring. It's usually the 5th or 6th ring when you have that third child. I literally, this is not a lie. I mean, it's totally a lie, but it's not a lie. But people changed their phone numbers when I had the 4th child. They moved to different zip codes. So Val, forget about when you have children. Imagine all those dogs. And you know what it is? Like, they're probably, like you're saying, not comfortable, the animals in transport. They're not like lounging, right? They're probably in a little container, crate, right? A carrier, right? Yeah. Learning, Val. I just got a dog. It's only 24 hours.
Yeah, it's so cute. You're like a Ziploc bag?
No, that guy might fit in a little bag. He's tiny.
Okay. So you started in 2015 officially?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious, because I can't even imagine what the expense is. What does an average flight round trip cost per se? And, like, aside from that, what other expenses are involved?
Yeah, so we pretty much have pegged an operating cost of about $350 an hour. And our typical rescue flight, I would say on average, is about 8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah. So what is that? $2,800 for a rescue flight.
Okay.
And that's, you know, including fuel. We're burning like 20 gallons an hour at about $7 an hour. So that's $140 plus insurance, maintenance, hangar. You know, there's the costs are high.
Absolutely.
How many animals can you get on a trip like that? How much room do you have?
It depends on the size. If it was one of your pet, for example, Tommy, we could fit a lot more. But I would say on average, we're taking like 10 dogs or,
Okay.
30 plus cats.
And just to be clear, these are animals that are being rescued from high kill or euthanasia lists from
Oh,
shelters.
I like to say overcrowded shelters. I try not to say,
Overcrowded.
yeah. I think the rescue community is trying to get away from the word kill shelter, because the unfortunate part is the people that are actually euthanizing the animals, they're just doing their job. And I've spoken to a lot of these people, they hate it. They hate doing it.
Of course.
Yeah, and it all comes down to politics and money. Down south, there's a different mentality. The local municipal shelter, they just don't have enough room and money to build more shelters. And the animals that get abandoned or a hoarding situation or whatnot, they're euthanizing when they don't get adopted to make space. They're coming in all the time. We work with a shelter in Kentucky. People are just dumping animals on their property. It's horrible what's happening. But yes, we're typically transporting from overcrowded shelters down south and taking them to the Northeast, where, in the Northeast, we do a better job at rescuing animals. We have, the legislation is changing. I know you have your finger on the pulse with that. And it's in fashion up here, which is great. It wasn't like that not too long ago.
So let me ask you something about that too, both of you guys, about that question, because it's interesting to me. So, and Val, maybe you know more certainly than I do about this. Why are these? Don't we have a lot of these animals up here anyway? I mean, my guy came from Coram out here in Long Island. He's like I said, mini Cavapoo dad, mini Britney Spears, not Britney Spears, Britney, what did I say? Britney
Daniel
Spears, mom. And I'm watching us on Facebook, and it's saying the words, like it's doing the captions, and I just saw Britney Spears on my other monitor.
Yeah, you get more viewers that way.
Yeah, let me. So, talk to me about that. Like, how? Because do we have the capacity here to get all these animals actually adopted out when we bring them up here from other parts of the country?
Well, I mean, it's really up to, I believe very strongly, this is a relationship driven world. Just like in business, just like with your neighbors, you have a network. Babysitting, you have your network, right? So if in fact you have a relationship with, let's say, Regina of Camp Happy Tails, and she's made aware of a certain dog with their history and all of that, you build those relationships. And if these organizations are willing to take them, then that's a great thing. It becomes also a prayer. I mean, what's better, right? Not saving those dogs that are on
overcrowded list,
right? An overcrowded list. I don't, but not saving those dogs, or or if they're going to make a lateral move to another overcrowded shelter, I mean, that's not solving a problem either. Like if you're saving lives, you're saving lives. That's how I see it.
And I think what you guys, to Tommy's point, you have to beg that question: are we bringing in animals from one overcrowded shelter to another? But you're right, Valerie. These people, the partners we work in at the destination up here in the New England Northeast, they have sourcing relationships, and every time we've tried to connect them with new relationships, it doesn't always work out, because they feel comfortable. These are shelters they trust and they work with. But to Tommy's point, occasionally we do see local shelters getting overcrowded, and they stop requesting us to do transport for them until they adopt them out. That does happen. And we've even seen local shelters go out, they can't operate anymore. And we've seen the notices, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, whatnot, we're going to have to euthanize these animals. And that's the time for shelters we work with to say, okay, well, let's make some space for them. We don't need to put them on a plane. We don't have to put them on a long car drive.
I just saw a notice where there was a shelter in oh my goodness, it might have been Jersey. Now I'm not sure. I read so much every day. Sometimes I get it blurry. Yeah, I'll look it up. But there was a shelter that just recently announced like a 2-week pause on accepting surrendered animals, that's so hard, because if you're a member of the general public and you live there and you, let's say, fell on financial hard times, which a lot of people have, from especially residue from COVID, if you will, if you can't financially care for your animal and you feel you have no other choice, you couldn't find it another home on your own, what do you do? Really? So I love what you're doing. One of my favorite parts also on your website is that we talk a lot about, different ways to help. So if you can't open up your wallet per se, maybe you can foster. If you can't foster, maybe you can volunteer. And we don't talk about this enough, but I love that you have a section where you can become a transporter, because even though people aren't driving the whole way, maybe they're driving halfway or whatever. So can you talk a little bit about what states you have volunteer transporter opportunities for?
Well, anywhere in the United States, really. We relaunched our website and have a new transport board. People can go on there and register as a volunteer and use their own vehicles to help, with these relays. And typically, a lot of people go on the website that, they may not have a full load of animals. It may just be a few. So that's really lends itself well to a volunteer in their own personal vehicle to transport. So I see you're showing a screen share. You can go to, if you go, you see volunteer, but also you go to the mission map and you'll see some of the current missions that are on there that we need help with. So it's a do-it-yourself program, but our staff does get involved in quality checking these transports to make sure they're legitimate. The worst thing we want to do is have someone transport someone's personal pet, which we saw a lot of that during COVID. People trying to get us to transport their personal pets because nobody was taking in planes. So we do get involved in these, but you can see these are long stints, more or less, with exception maybe of the Kentucky or North Carolina or New York.
So I see something here for Turks and Caicos. So 4 puppies in Turks and Caicos, and that's not just getting in your Volkswagen and driving some puppies.
No, that's not going to be a jet. That's going to be a jet. Yeah. So, but that's the thing. You never know. We do have a database of over 1,000 pilots. Someone might be going to Turks and Caicos. You just never know. I mean, that one has probably a very low likelihood of success.
Right. But I mean, if I want to go down to Southern Pines, North Carolina, and come up to Cliffwood, New Jersey.
Yeah, you look like a golfer, Tommy, right? You're a golfer.
Well, I mean, it might look like it now. When I have a club in my hand, you might say I don't look like a golfer anymore, Michael. But thank you for the compliment of how I look.
I will tell you right now, I'm just going to make this an extra awesome day. I'm still not expecting, I mean, I shouldn't say that, right? You should always think positively. Today's going to be a great day. Tommy blew me away.
Yep.
I would like to add to the awesomeness of the day, and I am going to commit that I am going to go on your website and I'm going to sign up as a volunteer transporter. I almost said transformer.
You can totally be a Transformers more than me.
I would like to do that because I think that's something that would be very meaningful, and I can do it. I can do it. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you need a specific kind of car? Like, I have a Jeep, right? So I'm assuming I can fit, I'm guessing 2 to 4 carriers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the best type of carrier is the one where the animal can stand up and turn around.
Yeah.
We may compromise a little bit in an aircraft, but with a ground vehicle, you probably have more liberty to have larger crates. That enables them to breathe properly. So, and they're supposed to have access to water every 24 hours and feed every 12 hours. I think that's the bare minimum, if I'm not mistaken. So it gives you pretty good parameters. But to go to your question, a Jeep is a good vehicle. The seats go down, I'm sure. A lot of these crates, they get very tall. That's a lot of the big restriction in a plane is how tall they are. Right. So same in a vehicle too. But yeah, you would be well equipped to do some transport. It's really about how far you're willing to drive, because you see those distances, and what happens if you're doing relays with vehicles, some of those distances, you're going to need a ton of vehicles. And that's very stressful on the animal. And that's where the aviation comes in. So the intention with that system is not just to rely on drivers, but hopefully some of the pilots chime in also.
Let me go back.
I know a pilot. I just thought of someone. I don't care. I'm just going to shout him out. Hey, Scott Zuckerman, are you looking for something to do with your extra time?
Right.
He's gonna kill me.
You gotta love that. Scott, yeah, not like you're running a business or anything like that, or
But he flies recreationally and all of that. I remember when I was in St. Augustine, because there's a restaurant in the St. Augustine, it's like a smaller airport where a lot of private flights happen, whatever. And we were having lunch there, and I was texting Michelle, his wife, and I was like, hey, do you guys ever fly to St. Augustine? Let's have lunch. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you could do that and have the little, like Michael was saying, like basically the joy rides, right? Have the joy ride on the way there and then save lives on the way back. I mean,
yeah, I love that. So this one, I'm just realizing how when you say relays, it clicked for me, and I don't think it had before. So let's just say if you're down in South Carolina, like so, just like say if you knew someone down in South Carolina, right? Hypothetically, like they had a radio show and it's
like Val,
and it's live right now, and your name would rhyme with Schmallery. Like just say that, right? And then you don't have to take the trip all the way up to Cliffwood, New Jersey, Val, because if you're looking here, part of the rescue. So you might say, you know what? I'm going to take this and I'm going to drive it to Maryland because I can only get to Maryland, or I only have the time to do that. And like, I don't know, some guy, Tommy D, is like, all right, let me cruise down with my Nissan Sentra and put 6 beagles. No, they're not going to allow that. But if it was only one dog, I could scoop it up. Or if it was 6 Cheetos, like my guy, then I could probably pick it. But like, that's the thing. So you say, okay, cool. Here's what I could do. I can take this leg of the trip, right? And here's the notes and here's the dates I could do this. And then the organization, Michael, would help find other people, or there would be other volunteers that would jump on and do this. I think so. One more second before you respond. The website, gang, if you're not on Facebook right now watching me show the website, is pilotstotherescue.org. pilotstotherescue.org. And when you're there, you click on mission map and you'll see what we're talking about. I really feel strongly, Michael, that people are going to be paying attention to listening to this. They're going to find a website and you're going to get an uptick in volunteers to do some of this work.
Speaking of, why don't you check the Facebook comments? I'm getting a text message from a very aggressive person named Barry Heffron. My husband.
So he wants to be, see, Barry, we're asking you to take a trip in the car, and right away you're asking for a free flight up to New York. That's not what we're talking about. This guy's serious. It says, can I fly with him for free because JetBlue is too expensive? I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say.
No.
He wants to fly with you as a support worker. So do you ever have volunteers that come on the plane with you to pick up the poop or whatever?
Yeah, of course we do. We work with a lot of influencers, and we also give priority to a lot of our donors to come on rescue missions. But of course, if there's space available, so we would consider.
Very familiar, like with Elon. Elon, if you write a big enough check, he'll take you to Mars. Barry, write a check to Pilots to the Rescue, and we'll get you on that plane. He's a Dr. P.A.L. He's a bit of an influencer, right, Val?
He's also kind of tall, though, so I think I should maybe get priority. Plus, I do have experience skydiving. I've jumped twice, so worst case scenario, I know
That's a good resource to have, right? Somebody who could jump out of the plane, Michael.
I got 4 jumps. If something happens, I'll just jump out and see.
We got to take the dogs with us, though.
You got to take the dogs. Yeah, the little shoots. I see the little shoots where they're like going down. They got the parachutes.
Yeah, he's gonna kill me. I just compete. Now I'm in competition with my own husband. No, he also wants to let you know that we have a large and a small crate. So we don't need them really. We never.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times the origin shelters can provide you with crates, and if it involves different vehicles, it's better just to pass them along.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is so
fun. This is fun. Like this is like, I do these days of service, Val. Like this is a trip, like literally a trip and also a trip, because how fun would it be? Like, again, I wasn't kidding. I have a tiny car, but if you got Kentucky to New Jersey, 9 dogs to New Jersey. So like if we could shoot down, it doesn't mean take all 9. I might be able to go down to Kentucky and take 1 or 2.
Well, not only that,
right, Michael, is that anything is part of the solution? Sorry, Val.
No,
yeah, absolutely. If you can take the full load, I'm sure they consider sending a few rather than none.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm curious to know? Do you have a counter? I didn't I might have seen it, I'm not sure, but like, do you have any idea how many animals you have pulled and flown in?
Oh yeah, we have a whole page on the website about that, rescue
Nice.
stats. But I think we're about 1,800 since the inception.
Wow.
Last year we did more than the whole history of the organization. That I have COVID to thank for that.
Yeah,
I
wow.
only started doing this full time starting last year, or 21. I think it was 21. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and my other business in corporate events just took a nosedive, and the charity just took off. So I
That's
said, okay, well, I better focus on the charity now. So I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm way happier doing this work.
All right, well, a couple things. I that nosedive thing, is that a plain joke? I mean, it's not a funny one, pilot. It's a top dog. I mean, that's
Yeah,
you don't want the plane to do a nosedive. But
no, definitely not.
this is like Dusty Crophopper from that movie. Your kids are probably into that now, like with the planes movie. Because I'm looking at your plane. It's a cool looking plane, man. It's got like the propeller on the front, the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's a single engine prop plane. We actually own three of them, three planes right now, but only one of them is currently working.
Is this the planes that like in the movie with Johnny Depp and Blow is like single engine Cessnas like that, like where they were bringing in illegal substances and things? Is it that sort of ball
Yeah,
guys?
single engine prop plane. This is a Piper, but yeah, Piper, Cessna, Beechcraft, those are the most
Oh,
well-known
a Piper
single engine
Cub.
prop.
Val,
Yeah.
Val, these are not big planes, Valerie. If you want to get on this plane, this is like not like getting.
Yeah, there's not a lot
I
of
went
room.
on a I was in a two-seater plane
You
the
were?
first time the first, I actually prefer the smaller planes. Don't ask me why. I feel like in a smaller plane, if something's going wrong, you have a choice versus in the big plane, they're
What's the
just
choice?
like,
I want to
hug
hear
your
this.
seat, I don't know, whatever. But like, I had a couple of questions too. I'm super curious because I've never flown.
What's the choice? Which God you gonna pray to? What's the
It's on
choice?
the single. Well, no, you can jump hypothetically,
Oh,
right? So
Most
like,
people don't wear parachutes though in these planes.
really? Oh boy. Well, anyway, so there was that advantage.
what are your questions, Val?
Oh, my question. Okay. So we've never flown with my dog. It's a thing with me. I'm too nervous. I would never put him in cargo, number one. But number two, even if he's on the plane, I'm not sure how he'd react, because he's nervous with like thunder and fireworks. I'm just kind of curious, like how are the dogs? Do they receive flying well, or I guess it's very individual?
It's a timely question because believe it or not, I took my personal rescue pup yesterday for the first time in a flight.
What do you
Oh,
think?
wow.
And she's skittish and a handful, and I didn't know how she would react.
Yeah.
In transport, when we're doing the transport, most of the loading of the animals into the plane is the most stressful part for the animal. I mean,
Okay.
we really get a good gauge to see if they're going to be airworthy or not. We've had a handful of dogs that we've didn't want to transport. We've rejected them just because of the way they reacted, and we were worried about safety of flight. But your personal animal, so the biggest thing about flying is it's going to make them sleepy. The animals become hypoxic, which means lack of oxygen, at about 8,000 feet. So that's the ceiling for animals. Humans are about 12,000 feet. So just the higher altitude in the plane, because we don't fly pressurized aircraft, it's going to make them sleepy. So usually they'll just go to sleep. It's going to be very loud for them. So a lot of people ask me about hearing protection. There is hearing protection for dogs. We would not put them on rescue animals because it's a short flight, and trying to put them on them for the first time, that many headsets would be crazy. And you need to practice at home. You can't just like go on a flight. You're not talking about like a commercial airline. You're talking about one of these small planes.
Well, either or. I just haven't
Yeah.
flown. I've opted to either drive or not go, basically.
Yeah, commercial plane. I mean, from what I hear, it's not a great situation. They've eliminated a lot of the crate sizes. They don't transport dogs that are considered vicious breeds, which includes shepherds, like my dog. And I heard it's really difficult.
Discrimination is real. It's
It really
ridiculous.
is. Not just planes, with insurance too, like getting insurance policies.
By the way, there's another bill, I believe, that's being proposed that addresses that.
They need to.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, what did you say? What's real?
It's called breed discrimination, where basically it's like let's say you own an apartment building and you have 200 units or whatever, like you're saying, no bully breeds, no pit mixes, no shepherds, no Rotties. And I mean, dogs are there's no guarantee. I mean, we all know that there's a lot of Chihuahuas that are kind of aggressive. Like, it shouldn't be about, their breed. It's
right. The only difference is I've had a Chihuahua, and you know that his name was Michelob Light. And as much as he barked, he didn't have a whole lot to back it up. So it's one thing to say, like, there's very aggressive Chihuahuas. Yeah, but they can't do anything. So like,
no, they can actually.
Yeah?
I will tell you this.
Tell me.
I knew a girl, I'll tell you quickly, because I want to get back to the pilots of the rescue, but I knew a young lady, she was our friend's daughter. She was a model, okay? She was in like the peak of her career or whatever, and she was really starting to get some cool stuff. She was on TV and all of that. She was at a friend's house. Friend had a dachshund, and long story short, I believe from what she said that he was antagonized, but ultimately he bit her in the face. Her face got infected. She ended up needing plastic surgery. Modeling career over.
Oh shoot! I hope she had disability insurance or something, because that sucks.
I didn't ask that, but I'm just saying, like, it's not. It is not. It's not the breed. Each dog is an individual, just like people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, that's all right. We do have to get back into this conversation. I got to ask a question, or I got to say something, Michael. I don't want you to know about the New York City Imagine Awards. I want you to apply for the New York City.
Yes.
So being that you're located in Brooklyn, I believe, right? That's where is that HQ. So nycimagineawards.com. I'm going to share it with you, but I'm really just promoting it out there for people to see it. nycimagineawards.com. It's the 3rd annual New York City Imagine Awards. The applications are available now when you go to that website, and they are due back May 8th at midnight. The event will be at Gustavino's Tuesday, October 17th, 2023. Reach out to me if you want more information. Tommy D at philanthropy and focus, phocus.com, or Tommy T at PAL-show.com. The guy with a lot of email addresses.
I'm sure that everybody wrote that down.
Yeah, well, okay, pause this and rewind and go back and you'll hear it again. But look.
No, but that is a great idea, because are you familiar with the Imagine Awards, Michael?
I'm not.
Okay, Tommy, this is your thing, so take it away.
So my buddy Ken Serini founded the Long Island Imagine Awards. I believe this is the 11th anniversary of the Long Island Imagine Awards, and then very successful organization, and highlighting the great work done by nonprofit organizations here on Long Island. And just 3 years ago, it began the New York City Imagine Awards. There's 6 different categories. And there's an application phase. After the application phase, those of us on the committee will recommend who goes to the judges. So then 7 semifinalists in each category will go to the judges, and then the judges will choose the 4 finalists, and then we do a big event. Since you brought it up, Val, and I was talking Long Island, April 25th is the Long Island Imagine Awards. And if you're interested in that, go to imagineawardsli.com, or again, just reach out to me and I will get you sorted out on that.
So what would Michael apply to? What's the appropriate?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, depending on the budget, could be there's the awards are Rising Star Award, Leadership Excellence. So you could certainly apply on both of those. Social Impact and Rising Star are the same award. It's just based on a budget difference. But then you have the Arts and Culture Award, which I don't think that would be a fit for you. But certainly Rising Star, Leadership Excellence, Innovation. This is certainly innovative even what you're doing. And then the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility is a new award that we just rolled out last year this year here on Long Island. And it will be in New York City as well. So, so some organizations, depending on what they do, let's say, for instance, it was an arts and culture organization, can apply in five of the 6 categories. There's just 2 that are basically the same. So I would say certainly you yourself or somebody on your team, you might want to nominate for Leadership Excellence, and then Rising Star and Innovation. I mean, gosh, the whole thing you're doing is innovation.
Cool. Yeah.
Really cool. So thank you for letting us put in a little commercial there, Valerie. I appreciate that.
I think that everyone who's listening and who has a rescue or a 501c3 that is involved with animal advocacy or anything like that, really should apply. I mean, it's something we should probably promote more.
We should. And one last thing before you jump back in, Val. I mean, 2 things actually. Barry Heffron says when you jump out of the plane, you will jump out with 1 dog under each arm. So we just had to get that out there for posterity, as they say. So the world will always remember that. And then the rescue Deborah from Positive Possibilities Rescue is where we got Cheetoh. So check out, I shared it on Facebook, but it's positive, right in tune with us, Val, little wordplay, positiverescue.org. But I was telling her, Michael, we'll talk about this offline, but I run these monthly roundtables where nonprofit executive directors get together and we bring in a thought leader, subject matter expert, talking about development, talking about PR, talking about things, fundraising, yeah, all that stuff. So let's get back into this conversation because we're talking about Val. What else you want to find out from Michael and his organization?
Oh, well, so much. So I actually have more of a pilot question, right? Out of curiosity, hypothetically, how long does it take to become a pilot?
I would say depends on where you live, but in the New York City area, I would give yourself a year.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it faster. They have accelerated programs like in Arizona and Florida. But yeah, I would give you a year, and everybody asks how much. It depends on the type of aircraft, but I would budget maybe like 25,000.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of doing that. I always have, but I also I mean, Tommy knows this because we're trying to learn this new program so that we can launch something we're working on. And the thought of learning new stuff now it's so overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's just, but
you don't mean now on a Monday. Do you mean now at this juncture in your existence? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just kind of feel like I don't learn like I used to. I don't know, whatever.
It's still there, Valerie. It's still there. And
we should awaken it.
I mean, I got my pilot's license at 32. I'm 46 now. But
I got to tell you something, because my uncle Ricky, I didn't even think of this when we were leading up to the show, but he is a pilot, and he's been flying these little planes like you fly around. Not little, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but these small planes he's been flying around for years. And I saw him at Christmas Eve, and I don't even know, I'm going to ask him, you need more pilots, right? What's the call to action right now? Give us big checks. Yes. Besides big checks, what do you need? Little checks.
Yeah, transporters are important, whether you drive a car or fly a plane. I would say ground transport is probably a more viable way to get a mass of volunteers to help out.
Right.
The pilots are great, but it's very expensive, and they don't necessarily want to fly more than an hour or two.
Right.
So driving is relatively inexpensive, but very time consuming. So, but yeah, we always need volunteers to be transporters. That's the number one thing. And also create awareness about our organization. We put a lot of effort and energy into telling the story, because numbers, we're just scratching the surface. There's just so many animals still being euthanized. I think the statistics are improving, but there's still very huge numbers. So we can't rescue enough animals to really move the needle. But what we end up doing is we have a novel concept, and we create this amazing content and stories that it creates awareness about the problem we have. And then people are like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should adopt rather than buying an animal. And, we're newsworthy. We get a lot of press. And that in itself has an exponential effect to what we actually do. Our goal is to rescue 1,000 animals this year, which is not a small number, but I think because of our ability to storytell and bring in various influencers, it makes the volume seem greater.
You know what I love so much too? When I stumbled onto your live stream that you were doing, I forgot exactly where you were, maybe Texas, but anyway, this actually reminded me, Tommy, of your son, one of your sons, because there was a young boy there, probably around his age, right? And Michael was doing a live stream, and he was checking in with, so whoever said hi on Facebook or great work or something like that. So it was very much like a Magic Garden. I'm really dating myself now, but all of a sudden Michael was like, thank you, Valerie. I commented or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, he sees me, and anyway, there was this young boy there, and he was so excited to be there. And he said to Michael, he was like, do you remember me? And Michael was like, yeah, I do. You look, I've definitely met you. And the young boy was like, I was here at the last time and blah, blah, blah. And he kind of got specific. And Michael was like, I do remember you. You share the same name as one of my kids. And it was just so meaningful to me because this is what we're trying so hard to do, is to get the kids and, you know, the next generation all involved, get to know their legislators. We're actually going to do a junior call night. So kids under 18 are going to call the legislators, you know, attached to their household and make a push for a bill. It's super exciting. But doing that and getting, you know, the kids involved at such a young age, it's huge. It's so important. And that was one of my favorite things that I saw about what you're doing. And there's a lot to love, honestly. I mean,
You got to check them out on Instagram. So I'm looking at it right now while we're doing the show. I'm over here on Instagram because that's what, when you have ADHD, that's what happens sometimes. Oh, their Instagram is pilots to the rescue. I love it. They got the pilot with like the scarf on, with the scarf on and the glasses. And you see it on Michael's hat if you're with us, but and that's just so cool. So I had another question, and I might have forgotten it because I'm busy looking at these pictures of dogs. You say influencers, like are they influencers in, like, are they selling makeup one day and then they're doing this, or are they influencers that are like germane or relevant to the mission type work that your organization's doing? Like, who can we talk about?
Both. So we end up, to Valerie's point about kids and being inspired about being an aviator. That's a great hook. And then we bring in the animal rescue. But so we bring influencers in aviation. General aviation it's not a boon industry like it used to be. The golden years of general aviation have kind of subsided. It seems like this thing that it's not quite within reach, whether it's the time or the money or whatnot. So and we know we have a pilot shortage. So that's one of the things we end up promoting in Pilots to Rescue. It's not about only about rescuing animals. This is also about aviation and getting more people involved because we need pilots. So the influencers that we have are often pilots, and even more important, female aviators.
All right, I'll do it. No.
Yeah, because it's such a male-dominated industry, and females make excellent pilots, maybe possibly better than male pilots. They're better at multitasking. So we end up promoting a lot of female aviators, and then also we get animal rescue people in that pet space to come on board, and then a smattering of people that don't take part in either, but they have such a great following that it helps fundraise and get people to follow us. So we've been successful in that. And last year was huge for us media-wise. We were on the Today Show and CBS. And I do attribute some of that to the fact that we're constantly creating this cool content and bringing in influencers that are willing to donate their time. You know, some of these influencers, they charge for this stuff normally for brands, but because we're a charity, they're happy to come along and document their experience.
We got roughly 31,800 followers on the Insta, on the IG. I got to call out somebody, Sully Sullenberg, Chesley Sully Sullenberg. If you're listening, we need you, babe. We need you. You did that movie's a great movie. Tom Hanks, the whole thing. But you know, what a miracle! What the Miracle on the Hudson they called that, right? Just
there's a lot of aviators in Hollywood that would love to take along. Harrison Ford, Angelina Jolie, Tom Travolta.
Yes, all of them. All of you. Take all. We will not discriminate. We would like all of you to help influence on behalf of this brand. Here's what I want to know, like, because my brain just goes in these different directions. I'm curious. It's not the same thing, but like a year ago, I went out and I rented a U-Haul van and I went out to my friend's place. She runs an organization called Allied Foundation, and filled it up with diapers in Hauppauge, Long Island, and drove them out to the Hamptons because people needed diapers out in the Hamptons. What kind of vehicle do you need? Like, could I do that and rescue some of these dogs and bring them up? Again, obviously they're appropriate in their crates and their carriers and whatnot, but can it be like a commercial vehicle like that?
It can, depends on the time of year, because the ventilation, like in a typical U-Haul box truck, for example, it's like they could potentially freeze or be too hot.
I would prefer a heat controlled.
The easiest vehicle to drive that a lot of people have access to are minivans. A lot of the seats fall flat.
I can rent a minivan, so it's not like I could still get. I don't have a minivan. That's my point. And
maybe a cargo van. Some cargo vans, especially the newer ones, have ventilation back there. Those things are huge and easy to drive. I'd stay away from the big commercial things. Like, we just bought our first ground transport vehicle. It's a Toyota Sienna. You know, because that's something that anybody can step into that and drive it. But when you get these huge Ford Transit, you know, Mercedes Sprinters things, people think they can drive those, and it's not so easy.
Oh, it's difficult
I'll
to
tell you
drive.
right now, I am not driving anything with a trailer on it.
No.
I was in trailer purgatory once with a jet ski trying to figure. I just can't capture that whole like think in reverse
Jet
thing.
ski, that's still sitting there on the side of the southern state.
We let go. We just gotta let it go, you know.
Yeah,
No,
we don't
but,
want to. We don't want to create a rescue on the highway
Yes, an
of
extra
a
rescue.
rescue vehicle.
You're gonna rescue to rescue.
I could see that happening. No, but so in all seriousness though, I really, you know, I want to encourage everyone. I mean, these are skills that we all have. Forget the aviation factor. These are skills that we all have. We have the ability to hit a share button on social media, share their message, you know, sign up for their notifications so you can see what great work they're doing. We have most people drive. You know, you can volunteer some time and even make it fun, like maybe round up a few people. So what we've been doing, Michael, and I don't really know if I mentioned this to you, but what we have been doing is we're building a community of animal lovers, all walks of life, all different professions, all stages of life, from children to retirees, etc. Okay. And, you know, we're looking to create this like community so that we can all support each other in everything we do, from business, so that everybody supports animal loving business owners and professionals, as well as in rescue and animal advocacy. And I want to say this, I'm thrilled because it's working. I mean, it's really working, but we've seen a lot of positive things happen. I just have to mention this one thing because it's super exciting, but a very, very, very good friend of mine who I went to high school with, which means I've known her for a few decades. I'm not going to go into exactly how many. But she recently became a realtor, like about a year ago. Tough time, you know, to get into real estate and all of that. But she's one of those people who's just great at everything she does. She's a great friend. She's a great mom. She was always great in school. She's a great like kick liner. She's a great soccer player. It's kind of annoying. She's just great at everything. But and so she came to one of our events. I said, please come. I want you to meet other animal lovers. And I think you'll do well. You're a great relationship builder. Fast forward to now, she just got $1 million listing referral from one of the animal loving professionals who she met through this community. And that's just the latest success story, but I'm super pumped because she's a very good friend of mine. And this is why I'm saying this. Get creative, use your skills. Maybe round up some of the people you might have met through us and say, let's create a relay. Like, people know everyone all over the country these days, right? So I know people obviously in New York. I know some people in Maryland. I know some people now in Florida.
You know how fun that would be? Like
I know.
run. Like, I was thinking it'd be fun to like get like, now I'm gonna rent a minivan. We're gonna do this whole thing. I'll drive down, we'll pick up dogs, we'll do it. But like, what a pisser. I said a bad word on the show, but what a pisser it would be to say like, oh, check it out. Take this dog, these dogs, you're gonna go from Virginia to Dewey, Delaware, right?
You know people in Atlanta, Tommy. You know a lot of people in Atlanta.
I do, and you know people in Florida. So we could totally be the hookup, like from Florida to the Maine, for instance, to do one of these things. So that I want to do. I wanted Val. Did you see the picture here? I'll take them. Did you see the picture, Val? That I'm bringing them back for you, Val, before the show closes.
Thank you.
Hang on. Val, did you see the picture I texted you earlier today? Thanks.
Of what?
I texted you a picture. Just by the way, this is our guy.
He looks like a dachshund a little bit.
The ears, right?
Dachshund. Oh.
Yeah, your friend. That's what one of the kids at school was saying.
Hi, Cheetoh. Hi, Cheetoh.
So.
Oh my God, I love him.
You love him. So the picture I texted you before, it's about our same friend, and I thought I don't know if you realized it. So our friend we're not like, we're being so vague, but our friend who runs a nonprofit organization made a significant donation to Horseability because of the relationship that you and I have, you know. So shout out to Team YOLO for supporting Horseability,
Oh,
with a rather substantial check. As how you doing, kid? How you doing? Oh my
oh
God.
my God. I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
loving it all.
Look
Shout
at
out to our friend Danny Taylor. It's not a secret.
It's
Danny,
not a secret. Danny Taylor.
congratulations.
Want to take him? All right, he's going
And
again. You'll see
hi,
Cheetoh.
Christine.
We'll do,
I
we'll do
have to,
FaceTime. We'll do FaceTime later, Val. You get to see the dog later. So,
uh,
so shout out to Danny Taylor. Danny Taylor made a substantial donation to Horseability on behalf of Team YOLO. You only live once, Team YOLO Foundation. I mean, this is what's happening, man. You know, what do I say, Val? What do I always say? No big
no
deal.
big deal, just changing the world.
No big deal. Just changing the world. So
We have to make the world a better place for
I
animals.
only have 50 years left, Valerie. I got a lot of things. Michael, what do you want to leave us with? Because we are almost at time, if not there already. What do you want to leave us with? How do we keep in touch with you? Shout out to Instagram, shout it all out.
I would leave you with the fact that when you give back, amazing things will happen in your life. So it's very easy to write a check, and we need those funds desperately. But if you're looking for real fulfillment, you need to get your hands dirty. You have to roll up your sleeves, go to your local shelter, ask them how you can physically help, because the rewards are tenfold. And whenever you give back and you dedicate yourself to this work, watch what happens in your life. You won't believe the blessings that come into your life. It's truly, you have to give to receive, and you only realize that when you do this work. And that's been my experience and the blessing that I've had, because I'm certainly not doing this for the money, but I get to do what I love, and I get to make a difference. And so many things I can't explain, positive things in my life just keep coming to me. And I'm like, oh, it must be because I'm saving all these lives. It's the only explanation I have.
This guy. I love this guy, Valerie. I'm so glad you found him. Now he's part of our world. Listen, we leave you, Val. You got anything before we go? Because I'm going to bring it home.
Oh, I do. Just check our website, www.pal-show.com for our upcoming event information on June 13th. It will be posted by tomorrow. Please join us. It's going to be in Plainview, New York. We'll have a panel of 3 wonderful animal lovers, and we're going to change the world.
No big deal, gang. No big deal. Just changing the freaking world. That's all. Ain't a big deal, man. No big deal. Roll up your sleeves like the man said. Get your hands dirty. You can always wash them afterwards. I leave you with this. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Make it a great day. Make it a great night. Make it a great morning tomorrow. Thank you all. We appreciate you. See you later.
My music's not playing.
It's all good. I already stopped.